Hi and welcome to Tabletop Gaming. My name is Charlie and today I am delighted to take you through the new Warband from Conquest. Now this is by Para Bellum Wargames and it is a game that consists of Conquest, The Last Argument of Kings and First Blood 2. Now there is some incredible information that comes with this, from the how to plays being free on the website to the lore that is extensive. But we're going to take a look what's inside this shiny new box, what we've got to look forward to, and as well I'll give you an idea on some of that lore, just as an inkling, just so you can see how it goes. Now, inside here is everything you need to get started. This is your starter set, perfect for both of those games mentioned. Now, Conquest itself is a skirmish game. It is a mass battle game that you're going to need to check out those rules to understand. It can take a little while to get hold of them, but once you're there, 100% you will love it. And quite nicely, those are free on the website, so you can go check those out now. Inside the box then is 24 blooded/brave, and then you've also got 12 hunters/slingers too. Now, let's take a look inside, which is nicely protected with these very noisy things that are going to disappear. And let's take a look at what we've got. Now, the first thing that you'll get, now you get 24 of these are braves. Now, to give you an idea of the Wardren, they are a warrior race. They are the ones that have trained since childhood to be part of this. Their entire system is based on the might. How strong are you? Because there's a battle for resources. You need lots of resources as a warrior, but there's a battle to get hold of them because of their scarcity. Your ability and martial prowess is strictly important in this game, and that means that only the braves are the elite of those Wardrun. Now, within that, if you think of a Wardrun, it's usually about 2 meters tall. In this case, the braves are even taller, so they're imposing on the battlefield like you wouldn't believe. Remembering, of course, that these were created over several generations by the spires, which means certain traits were bred into them specifically. These, one would argue, is their power. Once you're inside, there's plenty to take a look at. See here, we have all of those miniatures and our stands on the side. Let's take a closer look. So, the stands, of course, are relatively standard. They're what you'd expect. But what you may not expect is the sheer level of detail available in these miniature constructs. Now, I'll do a close-up for you in just a second so that you can see them in more detail, but you'll see you've got lots of detail to put together. Now, it does say in the instructions, which are included in the box, that you're going to need your sort of standard put-together miniatures kit, which is glue, cutters and a knife. But if you've created miniatures before, put miniatures together, you will be familiar with these. If not, they're lovely and easy to pick up. We have the aforementioned instructions, because however good you get at IKEA furniture, you're always going to make a mistake with something like this unless you have help. And then finally, the 2 cards that you need for each of those with the QR codes included too. And that makes up your braves. Now, those braves come in 2 sets. So you have this box, you also have another box as well. And within those, you will make up your regiment. Now, obviously this is a starter set, so we're going to contain everything that you need. So these are not alone. As I say, not only do we have another box, but we also have some more to show you, which are hunters. Now, something to note about the spires is they didn't stop at just creating the Wardren. They were constantly creating different animals, different creatures, different things as part of their biomancy. What that means is there are tons of creatures out there. So there's a biosphere around the harsh area that they live in that gives you more sort of lush areas to explore in. However, they're rich with creatures. Now, because of that, as I say, the creation of the Wardren and the traits that have been sort of placed within them or created within them as they go along, one of those iterations that they tried to create contained sorcery, and that gives some of them an affinity with animals. Now, that affinity can go as far as being able to talk to them, not in all cases, but it does mean that those fantastical animals that live slightly outside can be convinced to join the Wardrun in the sense of you may be able to ride a dinosaur. Now, the Wardrun is sort of a classic orc basis in fantasy tropes. If you were looking at classifying these in a similar way, it would be through orcs. And an orc riding a dinosaur is a glorious thing. Now, these give you the orcs that you need to get started, and the dinosaurs come later. So this is a great place to start in the starter set. See what we did there? Anyway, with that in mind, when you're fighting enemies, you're not just fighting those that are going to attack you, but you're also fighting those that are the predators outside, and the hunter's job is to do that. Now, what that means is these people are exceedingly skilled with javelins and those sorts of silent weapons that you can have. So when they're on the battlefield, they have a very different vibe to them than the brave do, who are all out war. Now, these come with such beautiful detailing. Look at those feathers, for example. All of these incredible aspects to them. Once again, I will do a close-up so that you can see everything, but it does feel that no stone has gone unturned. You've got the weaponry that looks incredible. You've got the adornments that look incredible. For such a tiny little thing, I'm always amazed how incredible detail can be put inside them. Of course, there are also instructions in the bottom, much like the other, and these with the little QR codes that you can use, and of course the stands that you'll need to pop them onto. But we're not stopping there, because there is even more to come. Now, we have these character miniatures. The lore that surrounds this, I've already hinted at bits and bobs of it, but the lore that surrounds this is incredible and it's well worth checking out, but it does leave scope beautifully for different characters. Now, if we take a look, for example, at this, which is the Wadroon Predator, again, requires some construction, but what we're looking at is a miniature based on this image. Now, they are as such because they are the leaders of the hunters, and it's rude to call someone so skilled, so amazing at these hunting skills, just a mere hunter. They are, in fact, a predator, and you can get a quick look at what they look like here. I quite like, I'll be honest, having the box as well, because it's a nice way to store them, as if sort of in their throne or their mighty box. These ones are isolated because they're just that little bit extra special. And also we have the Scion of Conquest. Now, Conquest was part of the original breeding partners, so when the Spires were creating the Wadroon, they made many, many attempts over many, many generations that were unsuccessful, and then suddenly, 2 breeding pairs woke up. They were awake. Why were they awake? What was the difference between them and others? And there was something that made them fearful, so the Spires put them back into a slumber. They put them to sleep and sort of retired them almost before they continued on their next iteration, which had, for example, sorcery, or their next iteration, which meant they were too powerful, until they were creating this ultimate warrior race. But these people still existed, and those first 4 Wadroon are essentially living gods, or I should say were. Because when the Spire's hometown had to be evacuated due to an attack, the Wadroon were awakened to go and defend on their behalf. Now, it worked in the sense that the Spire were able to flee from their home in some form of safety, but also some of the Wadroon were able to too. They were held off by the 4, so War, Famine, Death and Conquest, but Conquest potentially used the other 3 as her distraction to get away. She led the Wadroon away from the city to safety and then back to the city as their hometown, where it lay abandoned and mostly ruined, let's be honest. This is a Scion of Conquest, one that has devoted themselves to conquest above the others, and perfect, of course, to lead the battle. With that, if we just take a quick look at the pieces that you will see. And also, of course, what they will look like once fully painted. Maybe not quite like that, but you can get them pretty close. They're going to be your characters in battle. They're going to lead your troops. So obviously, you have both of those to match the ones that you have here. Now, what I would review without knowing what to do, the last things that are inside the box are these. These are your literature. So you have how to play your Last Argument of Kings and how to play your First Blood 2. Now, the other thing to point out is how beautiful a lot of the artwork is within these. They've been really carefully and beautifully made in such a way that this is such a nice thing to own in itself. And of course, once you learn this, you can play with this, and you can play with so many others too. The last thing that I see in my box is our army list, so the last piece of literature available to us. So, with that, we have our box full of Wadroon, the exciting creatures that they are. I've mentioned it before, do go check out their backstory. It is incredible, from the very first creation versus destruction to create balance, all the way down to the inspirations as to why the Spires created these guys, how their biomancy works, and what the impact of the different generations of Wadroon has, and how that contributes to their own motivations and their own fractions within society, as well as how their society runs and how they split themselves off. Do they worship a particular god? Do they have a particular calling? Are they ironmongers? Are they... All of these things are incredibly important to the story and give them a really rich background that you don't always see. It's not just go fight kill. It is also why? Why these ones? Why is this one better than the other? This is no mere just another Spire experiment. This is a warrior race that has built themselves up and is ready for a fight, or ready for you to take that fight, I should say. Now, of course, it is a starter set. You can pick up the rules online for free if you want to check those out before you do anything, but I would recommend starting with something like this to get you away and going. And before you know it, you'll maybe then be onto the dinosaurs and goodness knows what else. But this is a great place to start. Now, you can find that webpage here to go and check that out. Be sure to have a look around and see all of the amazing detail that goes into Conquest and how it is now living, and the importance of that too. We're super excited about this set. We're really grateful to be able to have a look through it early, and we invite you to give your thoughts. What is it you think of these? Would you buy them? Have you bought Conquest before? Have you played Conquest before? Would you recommend it? What has been your favourite? And would you ride a dinosaur if you had the opportunity? I feel like I know the answer to this one, but we'll ask anyway. I've been Charlie with Tabletop Gaming. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.